Okay, so Johnny Geib,
Geib.
Johnny Geib.
Geib. You got it right the first time.
Yeah, Johnny, I've been watching what you've been up to since Presonus days, probably when I bought a Presonus 1642 Studio Live mixer.
Oh, wow.
And,
Yeah, that goes back a bit.
Yeah, and I got into recording with it, doing whatever, getting all the problems that everybody gets, and then looking for solutions. And of course, your name cropped up all over the place as the man with the solutions.
No, I appreciate that.
So, and I think at some point you probably sent me a sort of almost personalised video, and I
Right.
know you've done the same for a friend of mine as well, who you also uses Presonus. He came over from Pro Tools.
I do about 6 of those a month.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting because I think the way you, when I watch your videos, quite often you are tackling it as though you're a real user. You're not just demonstrating how to do something. I've seen quite often when you'll be scrolling around and something will change, or something will happen, and you go, "Oh, what's happened there? Why did that do that?" And then you go back and find out why it did it, which is all the things that the average user comes up against all the time.
For as much as I know about Studio One, there's a whole ton that I don't. So I like to do the videos on the questions that are like, "Hey, Johnny, how do you do this?" I'm like, "That's a darn good question. Let's figure it out."
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I've seen that happen when you've been doing the videos. I've seen people write in with a question when you've been doing maybe some live stuff, or you've had it on YouTube, whatever, and they've gone, "Well, what about this?" And I don't know. Let's have a look at it and see.
See what it does.
Which is quite often the way I will work with stuff, plugins and that. I just turn everything up and down 100% to see what they actually do, and then I can hear it, and then I can react to it. But just take us back to, I've seen all your recent stuff where you there's maybe some issues with the website, whatever was going on, and you've then switched and doing something slightly different. But I have been, like I say, following what you've been up to, and I just wanted to take you back to your first time with Presonus. How did you come into contact with them? How did that happen? And how did that all start?
That's an interesting story. Back in 2010, I had a full spread down here. I had a sound room, I had a control room, and I had a performance room. And I was in the middle of a project with a band, and I was using Cubase at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Cubase released a new version, and I was in kind of tight with one of the reps from Steinberg and everything. So I install the new version, and it doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, I could just go back to the other version. So I contact the rep over there, and he says, well, you can't go back. You would have to uninstall everything and then reinstall up to that point. I'm like, I am actually an hour into a session. I got to get this to work now. And he said, well, there's no way to do that right now. There's a new update coming in a couple of days. So in a panic, at the time I was using a Presonus, what was it called? I think it was called a trans tube. It had 2 tube inputs in the front and then 8 more in the back. So it was a 16 channel single rack. Well, I remembered that it came with a really, really tiny version of Studio One. It was like 1.6, something like that. So I installed it. I moved all of the tracks over to it, finished the project, and I finished it that day. I've never looked back since. I never went back to get the update for Cubase or anything like that. It just worked. Everything worked great. It was actually, at that time, it was lower CPU usage than Cubase, and I just stuck with it.
Yeah.
And about a year into it, Rick Knockfee was really popular online, and there was only 2 people doing videos at that time for Studio One. It was myself and a guy named Bill Edstrom, who was doing far more professional-looking videos than I was. So Bill said, why don't you see if you can be a beta tester for Studio One? So shot an email to Rick, and now technically under the NDA, we're not supposed to tell people that, that we're beta testers.
Yeah.
But the cat was out of the bag well into Studio 1, 3, and 4 when, somebody had actually said in an interview that I had, they flew me out to Baton Rouge, and it was just, everybody just knew. So, and in 2023, I had a huge channel. I had almost 30,000 subscribers, and it was a business at that time. It was a second income for me. It was hacked, and I lost everything. So I no longer really do this to make money, although I do have a site that people can, support what I do. So it was a big change.
Yeah,
it was a big change. That's really a kind of a synopsis of what's happened. So I do have a contract with Fender and Presonus for support, but I don't get paid to say, to say, hey, everything is great and all, butterflies and roses. And sometimes I tick them off a little bit with my honesty, but hey.
So were they asking you to do videos on particular things, or did you do your own thing?
No, I was just doing my own thing. They really liked the videos. I had over 1,000 videos on my own channel, and they just kind of, brought me in. And for a while, they didn't really sponsor me, but they put my links to the stuff up with Obedia and stuff like that on the site, and that lasted for a little bit. But when I lost the big channel, I lost a lot.
And how did they feel about that when that happened?
That was devastating.
Yeah.
And I was really going through some major voice issues at the time. I have a condition called dysphonia.
Right.
So if I talk way up here, I can get a decent voice. But if I try to use my normal voice, I got this Batman thing going. Yeah, it was devastating. And at the time, both of my parents were passing away.
Right.
So I really couldn't focus on YouTube and trying to get my channel back. So I just decided to start all over. So now I got a little tiny channel. It's got about 5,000 people on it, and I try to help where I can.
Yeah, I see that. It's funny how that business works, isn't it? I suppose, and things can come, and that's people. I know people are reliant on YouTube channels and other social media channels, and I've seen.
I was making $1,000 a month.
Yeah. And people making a lot more somewhere as well.
Oh, yeah.
Awful lot more, but they are still at the beholden to these channels. Whoever's out there, holding on to these things. And I see when, there's anytime there's a problem with TikTok or Instagram or whatever, people are up in arms.
Right.
Oh, my life's on the line. I've lost everything. I can't function because this has gone down. And you think, well, you are totally reliant on this internet provider, whatever they're doing. It disappears, and they can just turn it off overnight.
No, it's and I've always had another job, so this was never my primary income. It's always been like a secondary and stuff. Recently in August, I was laid off of my job of 20 years, and of course it was with a very specialized field that I couldn't just go out and get another job in that field with toll systems.
Yeah.
Like the tollway for cars and stuff.
Yeah.
So right now I'm a part-time cook in a bowling alley and a part-time lane technician.
Okay, cool.
So I get full-time hours, pretty close, but it's like $20 less an hour. So it's really kind of tough.
Sure. So what are you doing in regards of recording yourself at home? You've still got all the gear there. So are you doing your own music? You're recording other bands? You're mixing?
Well,
producing?
I used to. Since losing my voice, I haven't really been inspired to write because I learned how to play all this stuff, so I had something to sing to. So basically, I do backtracks for people.
Yeah.
People send me a song, say, "Could you do the drums and the bass on this?" Now, I'm not by any means a super accomplished musician, so it's all basic, basic stuff and chords and stuff. I don't do any kind of solo work, but for sometimes I'll do background music for like college kids.
Yeah.
They've got a video that they're putting together for their college thing, and they say, "Hey, can you do like a little background music thing?"
Sure.
But mostly I teach with it all.
Yeah.
And of course I just like to play with some of the stuff, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And are you still? So you say you still got a link with Fender and Presonus. So,
yes.
what's your take on the whole Fender takeover element? I mean,
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was a bad move to change the name. I'm like, no, if you really want to do this, as far as them actually merging, it's been fantastic as far as my relationship with Fender and with Presonus and everything. But at first, I thought it was a bad idea to change the name. You're going to lose a lot of people and everything. As things started to come out as to what some of the changes were going to be, and you get over that hump with the name. Now, a lot of people, like, everything on my desk right now is Presonus.
Yeah.
It's got a nice little Presonus label in the corner for everything. So, some people's stigma, well, now I won't have all Presonus stuff. I'm going to have a Fender piece, and it doesn't match everything else. A lot of it is a mental game.
Yeah.
A lot of it is a mental game with just kind of liking the environment. It's got another name.
Yeah.
Ecosystem.
Yes.
Because I have the interface, I've got the two controllers, I've got my fader port on my PC system behind me here. That is my Studio Light mixer. And so I like the continuity between everything. But that's all going to change now if I decide to buy one of the new controllers, or I decide to upgrade or downgrade my interface or whatever. And for some people, that's a stigma. It's not the same. Everybody worries about the whole Gibson and Sonar deals.
It does make you sort of wonder why Fender even wanted to get into the DAW ecosystem, as you say, and what are they looking to do with it, really? Maybe it's all good, and they're going to build on it.
From what I've seen and the people I've talked to, it's going to be pretty awesome coming down in the future. And of course, I can't say anything, but if I thought it was going to collapse, I would have stuck with, everything labeling Studio One.
Yeah.
And I would just have supported those people. But I really like what I see. I like how it works. I think it's, at least on my two systems, it's a little bit more robust. I don't have the CPU and the dropout issues. And I never really did with Studio One. I never really had those issues. So many issues that people were putting up about dropouts and things freezing and everything like that. And people would come to me and say, hey, Johnny, why is this doing this? And I would get on the line with Zoom with them. And I couldn't explain it because I got two updated systems here, and I'm not seeing that issue. And it's hard to troubleshoot something you can't see. But you see the person on the screen, they're obviously having that issue.
Yeah, and I see a lot of that going on. You've probably yourself been following all the Facebook groups and all the various people chipping in and all the whatever's going on. I haven't updated anything yet. I'm on Studio One 6. I haven't changed anything apart from logging into my account and it's now a Fender account.
Right.
And I don't do as much recording over the last year or two as I have done in the past anyway. But at some point, I will be getting back into it all again and doing some sort of update. I'm hoping that a lot of the sort of issues that people are seeing will get picked up and fixed and whatever in some sort of update. I'm sure they will. But but it does make me wonder why some people are seeing some of these problems. I mean, as like I said earlier, a friend of mine has got this, and he's the guy that you did a video for in the past, and I was around there not so long ago, and he was just telling me, he's just done the update, he's gone for it, and he's having all sorts of issues. And,
really?
And he's on a PC, it's a good PC, and it's all the things that he was using before, and now that it isn't working, and he's slowly working through it, disabling this, taking that out, reloading this, reloading that. But it's kind of, I suppose, for the average user, they could well be thinking, well, why is this happening? Surely it should be a straight transition. But I don't, understand. Well, I don't understand the technicalities behind it as to why it would go wrong.
Okay, so I did the updates on both my machines, and I didn't do my Mac until I saw how everybody else was handling the update. Now, of course, I had the early versions of it on my PC, and I can honestly say it's set up. I just recently did a video on how to manage the file setup, which, in my opinion, a lot of people disagree with me. The way that Presonus Fender has their file structure for Studio One and Studio Pro is brilliant.
Yeah.
Everything is in one place. You can literally take that file and move it to a new computer, and all you have to do is point Studio One or Studio Pro to that location, and everything moves, the license, the everything. So when I hear some of these people that are really having issues, you know, they can't find this, or it's freezing, or now all of their sound sets are gone, or something like that, it's hard to troubleshoot it without actually seeing what they're doing.
Yeah. And you know, if they're anything like me, because my filing system is horrendous, really. I've loaded plug. In fact, it's something I must talk to you about at another time, because I'm on Mac Mini M1 at the moment, which is a good few years old now, although it works perfectly well, to be fair.
I've got one that I just replaced with a Mac Mini M4.
Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. And so, but when I do that, I really want to try and make sure that all my plugins and whatever they are is in the right place, because I get so mixed up between various plugin types, file types, where it should be. And
do you use a lot of third-party stuff?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
More. I think the more the issue is when people say, "Oh, put all your sound sets on a remote drive and do this and do that to reduce you," and I'm thinking, I move this isn't going to work again, so I don't want to do it. And so it's having the confidence, you know, of being of doing all that sort of stuff and trying to make sure it's in the most efficient place.
Well, the Presonus stuff is easy to move. All your sound sets and all your presets and all of that stuff, it's in one place. And if you're on a PC, even if you're on a Mac, it is a Studio One folder that's in your documents. And as long as you have saved all of your songs to the default locations, you can literally pick up that folder and move it to the external drive and repoint. Now, when it comes to third-party stuff, it is trickier. The third-party stuff, the initial install needs to stay on the C drive. You should, I can't say you can't, but you should not move those installs just to save room. Now, if you have a third-party plugin with a library, like say Contact, now the library can be moved. The library can be moved to a different drive. But then when you open up the GUI in Studio One, you have to go into the settings of that plugin and point it to the new location. But you can't just take a reverb plugin or a delay plugin and just move it to the external drive. It's not going to work.
No.
Especially if you didn't point the installer to go there.
Yeah. And I think one of the other things that I suffer from is when I'm trying to clean up my drives and maybe tidy things up, I see multiple names, all the same thing, and I'm thinking, surely I don't need all these. But, you know, you're scared to death to delete anything, aren't you?
Yeah. No, you got to keep them, especially if they're all pointing to the song folder for a particular song. You got to keep those. Some of those could be your punches. Some of those could just be graphic movements, you know, when you actually use like the gain adjustment in a particular event. It's going to create a new picture. And if you move that, you're going to hear one thing and see something else. So, or it'll break the connection completely.
Yeah, I learned a little bit about that when I started using DaVinci Resolve as a video editor, because you know, I loaded all my files up, did it all, and then I thought, you know what, I'll move all these into a folder, move them, and then DaVinci can't see them anymore. And I thought, what's happening? You have to, you know, I sussed it in the end, but it's really frustrating at the time. So what's your next move, Johnny? What's all
right, so since this really what I do, it's home studio trainer. It's not really a business anymore. It's just kind of like a hobby now. But I still support a lot of people, and Presonus relies on me to hook up with people directly. They don't have that kind of one-on-one video or phone support. I put I got a special cell phone numbers that I put out there so people can call me directly. And if I'm available, obviously I'll answer. I'm pretty much going to stick with how I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And just continuing the support, keeping my contract with Fender for as long as they'll have me. And it's really going good. They're great people. And as far as I can see so far, a lot of people are like, well, now that they've taken over, people are going to go and this and that. It's the same crew. It's the same crew.
Yeah.
And I have to give a shout out to Johnny Lipsham.
Yeah, for sure.
He and I have become such good friends over the years. And I was really sad when I couldn't do my live streams anymore because we had a lot of fun with those.
Yeah, well, I actually was on one of the sort of kind of a bit like this, like a meetup Zoom type meet, and he was on it. I think he hosted it actually.
Yeah,
and with about
I host one a month also.
Yeah, with about half a dozen other people, and we discussed a few things, and kicked a few things around. So and it's quite. I thought that was quite good, really, on the basis that you're talking to. I hope that sort of thing continues because you're talking to somebody that's now Fender Presonus, a global company, but you're able to have almost a one-on-one discussion like this with just a few people and talk about the sort of issues that you might be having and get them resolved by the people that know the most about the equipment and the systems,
Right.
Which I think is a good thing. So I hope that continues. And I see at some of the YouTube stuff on NAMM, and I've seen a couple of new bits of kit floating around, sort of controllers with various bits and pieces on hardware. Have you got any of that? Are you trying any of that?
No, I'm kind of begging to get a couple of them. Because a lot of the gear that I have now were from when I was a beta tester early on with Presonus.
Yeah.
And some of it, like my fader port, I actually bought myself and that kind of thing. I would love to get that, and especially my excuse is, hey, if you send me one, I can support people. That kind of. Yeah, because I have a whole video series on the fader port. I've got a whole video series on the Atom SQ and the regular Atom, and now they're old now. So I'm probably going to have to redo those, but even those older videos and stuff, they still have enough basics to get people going.
Yeah, and a lot of people buy stuff just to try it out because it's fairly cheap. Maybe now and there, give it a go and see, well, I'll just see how this goes. And I did notice that Presonus did have a tendency to bring out quite a lot of stuff fairly quickly. Quite a turnaround of equipment, which I wasn't sure whether that was always a good thing or whether people really needed it. But do you think Fender are going to go down the same route? Do you think they're going to keep churning out hardware?
That's a good question. I know that they've announced all the new interfaces and the new controllers, and I don't know. I don't know if they're going to release things at such a pace that Presonus did, because Presonus was always trying to keep up with with the latest, and especially like I would assume probably like what Steinberg does, because Steinberg also releases a lot of new gear, through the course of a couple of years. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Now, as far as the interfaces goes, I don't think I'm going to be able to grab any of those, but I do know that they are that Presonus is sticking with the mixer and live sound side.
Yes, I saw something about that.
I was reading on the website that and you get some of the questions in the Facebook groups. Everything's going to go to hell and everything like this. But they've done a pretty good job at explaining what their goals are. As far as that goes. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I don't have any inside information. I'm not really in deep with all the planning and everything. I just, when they have something to test, I get to test it in Studio Pro.
Because Rick...
See, I don't even say Fender. I just say Studio Pro.
I mean, that's the
probably catch heck for that.
But I think, to be honest, most people just say Studio One and will continue to do so because that's what it's recognised as, isn't it? I think. Generally.
Studio One. Right. Exactly. And everybody didn't like the Fender name in front of it. Well, then just call it Studio Pro.
Yeah. That'll
work.
Yeah. So I see Rick went over to SSL.
Yes, I was so sad to see him go.
Yeah,
He's a great guy, and he's responsible for some of the gear I have here, so I owe him a lot.
Well, I do use. I have got the SSL control, sort of EQ controller, and
oh really?
And the I use the 360, the SL 360 in conjunction with Studio One, so it runs alongside. You know, I did a couple of videos on that, which did okay because of the. I think people were wondering how it all works together. You know, and the only sort of it's not really a downside, but in order to get it to all see each other, you effectively have to put an instance of SSL, almost like a plugin, on every single channel of your Studio One setup. Because if you don't, then it doesn't appear as a fader or a channel on the SSL.
Oh, that's interesting.
But when it does, it works great because it all the faders follow. I've got a fader port here as well. You move any fader on either unit, and it follows. The EQ all works. You know, the volume, even the transport controller, you know, replicates on Studio One as well.
Can you bank through fader groups like you can on the fader port?
No, no, I don't think so. And what you can't do as well is you can't create like a subgroup in the SSL, which is a bit of a pain because if you've got 100, you know, Presonus channels going on, you've got 100 faders on SSL, and you can't break that down to less screen space.
See. Yeah, I was going to ask if you've only got 8 faders, you know.
No, but I'm guessing they'll continue with some updates, hopefully, and they'll bring something like that on board. Because when I did the video, there's a couple of things that I mentioned that, you know, I thought, well, it'd be nice if you could do this or nice if you could do that, just to make it, just from an instant user point of view. You know, you turn it on, you start playing with it, and you say, well, straight away, that doesn't feel right. Sometimes through all their development, they just don't pick up the really obvious bits now and again.
Right. The third-party stuff is difficult when you're dealing like what was it? Behringer had a couple controllers.
Yeah.
And I worked with people for hours trying to get those controllers to work, and they would work for a little while, and then they would stop working, or they would reboot the system and all the stuff that they saved. That was early on with some of the cheesy controllers that Behringer used to put out. Now, how Studio Pro works with some of the controllers now for Behringer, that'd be interesting. I don't have any clients that have that yet.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's part of the Fender sort of style? Do you think they're gonna try and improve the software in such a way that it just works better with other stuff?
That's a good question. I would assume so.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume so. There are issues with like the control link, remembering certain controller setups, which so far, thank goodness, I haven't had an issue with. I set up my control link stuff because I've got some old school gear here. I don't know if you can see it in the monitor, but I've got an old Alesis SR16. I've got a really old Oberheim Strummer. And a really old MIDI controller from Yamaha from the 80s. That was strictly for MIDI. And so far, all those setups are remembered pretty good, even with Studio Pro. So,
okay, cool. So we can expect more videos from Johnny Geib.
Oh, yeah. I've got about 24 now that are just about ready to kind of slowly go out. They're going to go on Patreon first. And then I bring them all over to YouTube after a couple weeks.
And you're also dealing with all people with these issues that are on the Facebook and such like, where they've got this, you know, I can't make Fender work. It's all trash, and I don't want to use it, and you're going to fix it for them.
And so far, I'm about 90% in getting and figuring this stuff out. But a lot of people are using an older Mac or an older PC with like Windows 10, but they have an updated Windows 10. So the minute we do the update to Windows 10, which they really didn't want to do, all of a sudden everything starts working. I find the Mac is actually easier to support because it's either going to work or it's not. And I've always been a PC guy up until the last couple of years. And for Mac folks, you really got to pay attention to the OS. You can't use like Monterey with with Studio Pro.
No.
You can, but you're going to have issues.
Yeah.
So a couple of the people, I've had them update to at least the next operating system that they can if they have an older Mac. So far, I've had some success, getting those people working.
Yeah. I guess that's always a bit of a trade-off, isn't it? When you've got operating system changes in your computer department, and then you've got software changes in the DAW department.
Right.
Trying to get the two, to work together.
I'm not quite sure how far back Studio Pro will go as far as the operating system. I know there's a document out there that explains it. But I want to say after Monterey.
Yeah.
Then things will start working. I mean, I've got the latest on my Mac, and I was really kind of hesitant. Oh, it does this and it does that. And so far, I haven't had any issues.
No, I think mine updated not long ago, actually, and it's been okay.
Yeah.
It's been fine. So, okay, well, listen, Johnny, it's been great talking to you, and I think I have to tell you, I think you've done a great job of supporting Presonus and all of us users over the years, because
I appreciate that very much.
You've got a very good on-screen style, and the way you present the stuff and the knowledge, it works really well, and I'm really it's not disappointed in the wrong way. I mean, the fact that what happened to your channel and all that, I think it's it's not a good way, but it's glad that you've bounced back a bit, and you're still here to help us all get out of all these troubles. And I can tell you, when I get the M4 eventually, I shall be on the phone to make sure I set it all up properly.
We can even do it this way, or we can do it over Zoom, where I can actually, move your mouse around and actually, get things guided.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a lot of users that only use Presonus stuff.
Yeah.
They don't have any third-party plugins or anything.
Really? Right. Yeah.
And I have to say that 99% of those folks have zero issues. It's when you start introducing third-party plugins, and I also have Cubase on here, I hate to admit, because I had to help somebody with it. And they both have the same issues with third-party stuff. Sometimes the stuff works, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it causes problems.
Yeah.
But in closing, I am still supporting all versions of Studio One.
Yeah.
I have on this machine, I go all the way back to Studio One 4.
Right. Okay.
So when people actually call me for something, I can do that. Otherwise, with people, I have two that are using Studio One 2. I have to do a screen share and stuff like that. And they got really old systems, but they work.
Yeah.
People like it. Some people don't want to upgrade. Hey, if everything works, leave it alone.
I don't think most of us need to upgrade, do we really?
Right. I don't think any of us really needed to, maybe from Studio One 5.
But it's just the desire, fear of missing out and all that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. What's new? I need what's new.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's been great talking to you, John. I really appreciate you spending the time for us.
Thank you.
And I hope it all works out for you. I'll be following what you're doing, and we'll be in touch again, not in the not too distant future, hopefully.
Okay. Just let me know. It's a real simple setup now.
All right, buddy. Listen, you take care.
All right, you too.
Thanks very much, John.
Sure.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.